brought to you by Zero Tackle and League Unlimited. Click the link in the bio for more. Dan, let's talk about our first episode and the viewer feedback that we got. I have a feeling that the responses would be unbelievable.
Pages and pages of feedback, most of it positive, which shocked me greatly. But I just want to read a few of these out. Thank you so much for the comments. First feedback comes from my ex-wife. Actually took the time to watch the show, which was nice, and said, not the worst 10 minutes involving you. So that was pretty positive.
That's good.
It's positive.
That is good for you.
The second one, this is why we have this segment. Boys, why can't you stand still? Stand still. What's wrong with you? Especially the small one. Look, thanks, Nan, but it was our first go at things. So, look, the third piece that I want to read out. Actually, I'm going to throw to you.
This is actually a real piece of feedback that we got, and it said we have faces for radio. That's from my wife.
Soon to be ex-wife.
Yes. Yeah, look, we were hoping 2021 was going to be a lot better than 2020, as it was just a horrific year, but unfortunately we have suffered our first loss in early January. I just want to point out as well that on the last episode of Rugby League Outlaws, I'm pretty sure I tipped Benji Marshall to the Roosters. Where's my cut, Molly? It makes sense for Benji Marshall to go to the Canterbury Bulldogs, but for me, there's a sneaky feeling for me that Benji Marshall's going to end up at the Sydney Roosters.
Let's talk some serious rugby league, Terry. It's been a big off-season, a lot of transfers, a lot of players at new clubs. We've highlighted 5 that we think will make the biggest difference.
Who's number 1?
Jack Bird. Now, this may be a little bit controversial in that he hasn't played for 2 seasons, but he's the kind of player who we know very well. Won a premiership with a broken wing. Great player on his day, looks fit, looks ready to go, said he'll play wherever he's needed, which is far cry from where he's come from, saying I need to play 5'8" or I'll leave the club. What are your thoughts?
I think the best position for Jack Bird is off the bench, like he played in Origin, until he gets his body right, until he proves that his body is right. I don't think he'd go and start the season at lock. I think it's too demanding. He couldn't play fullback. His knees aren't up to it. You can stick him out on an edge. I don't know what the Dragons forwards are like. I can't imagine they've got a good team this year. I think it's a great decision for Jack to go back to St George.
Absolutely. There's plenty of positions there, and Corey Norman's only a few bad games away from getting dropped, and he can go into the position he wants to play. Don't think Matt Duffy's going to get moved from fullback. I think they made that mistake and fixed it last year, finally. But moving on, the big one for mine, David Fafita.
Yeah, he is the signing of the season. I don't care what anyone says. He's the big one, the marquee. They got him off their big brother. They've brought him down. He's all over the Gold Coast. And I was up on the Gold Coast just before Christmas. There's pictures of David Fafita everywhere. He's going to make a real difference to that Titans. Is he going to be the difference between them finishing 10th and into the top 8? I think so.
Absolutely agreed. The Titans, for all their players, haven't had a marquee signing for a long time. I think Jamal Idris may literally be the last one, and unfortunately didn't work out. But the kind of guy you can put in front of kids and them go, there's that football player I know.
Yes.
That's
David Fafita. Number 3 on our list, I know it's a player who you don't have a lot of time for, but I think he's going to make a big difference across the ditch, and that's Adam Fanua-Blake.
Look, I agree. On the football field, he's arguably the best prop in the game. My thoughts are well known, but we'll save that for another time. He's going to bruise that pack.
I think he's going to take that pack to the next level, and it was really hard to leave Ben Murdoch-Masala off this list.
They're big boys. The Warriors of old were big and aggressive up the middle and had fast halves. Starting to look a lot like that this year.
Exactly. And then number 4, we've got the second biggest T that we'll ever mention on this show, and that's Big Tino.
Big Tino. This is a signing.
Yeah.
When they signed him, I was like, oh, that's good. Now, it's amazing.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking on our podcast that you said there wasn't one Queensland forward that would have made the New South Wales team, and Tino made you eat your words. He was incredible. He's a great signing. And he can play anywhere in the middle.
He's a fantastic player. Again, another player who kids may not know yet, but they will.
Yeah. And the last player that we have?
James Roberts. Again, controversial. Another player who on his day, though, can be the difference between losing 10-6 and winning a lot.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that he went to the West Tigers, but James Roberts on his day is a rep quality player. He's fast, he's experienced. If he's got his head screwed on, he's going to be back on the rep scene in no time.
He's the kind of player you just want to see succeed. Yeah. He's a highlight reel player. He seems like such a nice guy. He's had his moments. I hope... It's hard to say this about the Tigers, but I really hope he fires for them.
Yeah, correct.
Mate, in terms of signings that probably won't make a difference that are expected to, is there anyone that stands out, perhaps?
Tyson Frizzell.
Former Shark Tyson Frizzell, eh?
Yeah, former Shark Tyson Frizzell. Didn't have a good rep season. Didn't have a good 2020. I don't think he's... he's 30 years old. He's going up there on big money. He doesn't get involved as much anymore. His defence is a little bit shot. He's going to the Knights. Whatever.
For me, the key there was big money. He decent player. He's an Origin quality player. But
Is
I don't know
he anymore?
I wouldn't pick him next year, put it that way.
I wouldn't
There's
pick
plenty of
Tyson
forwards coming through. Put it this way, Victor Radley is fit. He's playing.
Yes.
There's a spot. Gonski's.
Yeah, fair play.
Speaking of the Knights, the big news, took a couple of weeks off, Christmas, Happy New Year, etc., etc. Mitchell Pearce just can't stay out of the headlines.
He's a player, Mitchell Pearce, where on his day, he's as good as any halfback in the NRL. Unfortunately, when his time's up, people are going to talk about Mitchell Pearce off the field more than they're going to talk about Mitchell Pearce on the field.
It's probably deserved too.
Yeah.
I mean, this was on the lower end of the atrocity scale, but it's your captain.
Yeah, this is the lower end, and rugby league players are entitled to their own personal life. Unfortunately, when something like this happens, though, it is going to be in the media, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, why would you drag his personal life in there? Because he's messed up again.
And it affects the team because there's friends of
people, yeah.
Including.
Now, they've stripped him of the captaincy, which I agree with, until I have a look at the Knights roster. And there's not a lot of people there that you would want. You know, it's almost as if they're going to turn around and go, for 6 weeks we don't have a captain. Mitch, what are you up to?
Let's get on in.
You know what they could do for Banner, though? Give it to Lachlan Fitzgibbon. That would really stick up Pearce.
Whoa. So Terry, last episode there was a little bit of an issue in getting the credentials out to roving reporter Benny G, and he was denied access to Roosters training. What we've done is we've taken care of it. The issues are sorted. We're going to go to Bondi again. Benny's standing by.
Thanks, Benny.
Wouldn't work.
Cheers, Benny. You're the man.
Terry, let's be honest. We know everyone's only tuning in for one segment. What's annoying Terry?
What's annoying Terry?
What's annoying Terry this week is round one sides with injured players, and we know the player's not going to be there for round one.
Pretty frustrating. Waste of time, I'd say.
Absolute waste of time.
Look, we've come up with a predicted team of the round for round one.
Is there anything that stands out to you for this team, Dan?
Mate, I thought Bronson's area was a bit quiet last year. 0 tries. I'm expecting a big year from him this year.
I'm expecting a huge year, and from round one with Sean Johnson with an Achilles injury, I'm expecting 5 tries.
See how dumb that was?
Yeah, very.
Now that's out of the way, let's do a serious round one predicted tonight.
Who have you got for us for this episode, Dan?
Well, I caught myself laughing at work, so I thought, naturally, the Dragons.
There's a lot of enthusiasm in that team. I like how you've got Cameron McInnes at hooker. I think that's the best spot for him. I know people are going to turn around and say, what about Ben Hunt? But yeah, looking at that Dragons side though, what's missing for you?
1 through 13, to be honest. Look, all jokes aside, it's a solid side, but it's nothing spectacular. The forward pack, Paul Vaughan aside, lacks aggression for mine. To be totally honest, I had to Google who 2 of the players on the interchange bench were.
Who was that? Trent Merrin and Kate Ellis?
That's exactly who it was. Look, the season's going to go on how 2 players go. Corey Norman and Ben Hunt. Now, neither of them played well last year, and the Dragons missed the 8 by a long, long way. The way the Dragons are thinking, if they can get both players in form, big if for mine, then you're looking at a top 8 finish.
Nothing about this team to me says top 8. What it says is competitive, heart, new coach, bit of enthusiasm, and eventually they're going to fade away. It's what the Dragons do. They'll give you an upset. They'll go and beat, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and then they'll go and lose to the Tigers.
It's a very fair shout. The centre stand out for me. I like the Bird-Lomax combo. Zach Lomax is the best player by an absolute mile.
Yeah.
If I had to pick any player out of this side to plug into my team, it's Lomax without any thought in the world.
I mean, there's not much else that I would take for that Cronulla side. You have put Jack Bird in the centres. I still think his best position is going to be on the interchange bench for them until he can prove that he's 100% fit.
The only problem with Bird moving to the interchange bench is Braden Williami is probably the next player that comes in at centre. For me, I understand where we come from. They just lose a lot, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I just think that 80 minutes of Jack Bird at the beginning is going to be probably too much for him. I know there's a new coach coming in. Hook's got a lot of pressure on him at the moment. He's got to get this side firing. They haven't had any success. They haven't for a long time. They haven't been in the finals for a few years now. I can't see it.
But they're a good-looking side. Cody Ramsey, Zach Lomax, Ben Hunt. Apart from that, I don't like much.
One player who I think is going to be a big improve for them and a big standout, and I think being a part of that Origin squad for Queensland, I think Josh Kerr's going to have a big year.
Look, that's probably a good choice, to be honest. I can't see much. I'm struggling. I like to say something positive where I can, and just not feeling great about the Red V this year, although they'll probably beat us in round one, as per the tradition.
Yeah, as per. Cronulla don't win round one games anyway, so the Dragons have got a lock there for that, but... one of the things that you notice is Tyson Frizzell has gone, but then you also don't notice Tyson Frizzell play.
It's a good shout. Tarek Sims on his day is a very good player and takes over. Jackson Ford, Blake Laurie. Look, there's a lot of players there that are decent without being fantastic. How many teams win premierships with decent yet unspectacular players?
How many teams make the top 8 on that? There's a lot of heart there. There's a lot of money tied up to some players who don't deserve it. I can't see them making the top 8.
I agree. Where do you think they'll finish?
We spoke about this off air. I think we both come to the agreement 15th.
15th, and that's being generous.
That is being very generous.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Fun as always.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to Punktured Media. We'll see you next episode. Make sure you trash us in the comments.
See you in the comments.